Okay, so now we're going to talk about the fuel systems themselves, like the fuel tanks and them on the carts, because it's different than normal cart, and you know how it is. So looking at our fuel tanks, we have two types. Two of the carts have this fuel tank. These are newer with our third cart. All right. To start, the basics are the exact same. They both have a vented cap. So cap, vent. Cap and vent. This is built in together, but this is separate. The vents are meant to breathe and let air into the tank freely. But if, let's say, the tank flips upside down, then there's no leakage. Okay? So they're aluminum construction. On the bottom, this tip is solid, it clicks in, and there's no issues. These tips are sensitive. So if you were to push the bottom of this tip, it'll leak. It'll leak like this if you push the bottom in. Whoop. Okay, so now looking at those vented caps, because this is kind of important. So this is the assembly, the vent assembly. So this is just a brass vent for like an air compressor. So it just kind of filters the air coming in. In the bottom of this is a check valve. There's a little cylindrical, like check valve to prevent anything from going the other way. So when assembling this, you'll probably need to use some plumber's tape or whatever, but you don't want to tighten it too tight because it's going to prevent it from flicking back and forth. But a good test is if you shake it and you can hear it rattle. This is extreme, but or just drop it. You want to hear it being able to flick back and forth. If you have to get replacement of these, you got to make sure that it allows air to freely flow, because we bought replacements and it was too hard. There was a spring inside one of the check valve that we bought, and we had to remove the check valve spring for it to work properly. So you want air to freely flow in. You don't want it, because the engine will be sucking the fuel out of the fuel tank, and you don't want to create negative pressure in the tank, because that's going to make it harder for the engine to just suck up the fuel. So make sure the air is flowing freely into the tank. Okay, now looking at the fuel system on the carts. It's very basic, and in essence they're the exact same thing. But this one is our newer model. The other two carts have the older model, but the way you run the line and everything is going to be the exact same. So fuel tank is secured in the firewall, right? You have your fuel line going through. Fuel filter, make sure your fuel filter is put in the right direction. Currently this is bad, it's filled with a bunch of junk, it needs to be replaced. The key to success is having this little loop. It doesn't need to be as dramatic as this, it doesn't need to go over the kill switch, but it can loop around underneath. As long as there's a loop, it helps with any air bubbles. Air bubbles will collect at the top, and also at the Grand Prix track, it allows for less fuel to migrate back out during some of the long left-handers. All right, fuel line continues, wraps around, and securely goes into the carburetor. Lovely. Okay, that's pretty much it for everything on fuel related, I'm pretty sure. If you have any questions, just don't. What else? Just make sure your fuel stuff is clean. You don't want junk in your trunk. if you know what I mean. All right, bye.